Hi, my name is Derek Henry with Accelerate Consulting, and in this quick video, we're going to talk keyboard shortcuts. Specifically, some of the ones that I've found to be my favorites that I use almost every day. Now, let's get right into this. Some of these are going to be common ones that some of y'all probably already use. I just want to make sure because these are so helpful that if you're missing out on any of these, definitely want to start right now. So, AltTab, that's going to let you toggle between two windows. So as an example, I'm pressing Alt-Tab and you can see how I can toggle through all the different windows that are open. Or Alt-Shift-Tab is going to go backwards. Right? This is really handy when you need to go back and forth between applications, maybe copy and paste things. If you don't have two windows or two monitors, I highly suggest that, by the way, but if you find yourself maybe traveling or something and you don't have to, this one can really save a lot of time. Windows D. I'm not going to demonstrate that because it's going to pause the video, but just take my word for it. That's going to minimize everything and show the desktop as if you did it some other way, right? So that's a big one. I use that quite a bit. Windows L. Also not going to use this one because it literally will lock me out and again pause the video. Just take my word for it. That will lock the screen in one step, a lot like Control-Alt-Delete shows you the lock screen option. Now copy and paste. These should be really straightforward, but just in case they're not, you go to anything, press Control-C, that copies, go somewhere else, Control-V will paste, or Control-X will cut, and then you can still paste somewhere else, right? Now, these are pretty basic. Just pay attention to what is happening in the app that you're using, because you may be copying just text as opposed to all the formatting. You may be copying something you weren't necessarily expecting. And then same thing with paste. Are you pasting text only? Are you pasting it formatted? Are you pasting it, something else, right? Be aware of what you're doing because some of the apps work a little funny. I know a lot of people get frustrated with PowerPoint because of the way that it either retains or uses some different kind of formatting that's not consistent. So just be aware. Now I've taken that a step further, and some of the macros I've created are copy special and paste special because of all the different ways you might want to copy or paste, like copy the comment that's in a cell, or copy just the formats or the formula within it or whatever. So there's a lot of things you can do in addition. But for now, just know that obviously those are the basics. Now Control F and Control H are going to help you find things. So if you press Control F, brings up the Find and Replace window in the Find tab. Control H will bring up the Replace tab. So if you want to search for the word highlight, just do that, press Enter or click the next button. It'll jump to the first instance that it finds, right? I use that a lot because I'm finding replacing things, fairly consistently looking for stuff, just try to do it as quick as possible. So I use that one a lot. Again, there are beefed up versions of those in the add-in. So if you want to easily find and replace things that you do constantly, there's a macro for that. And then we get to navigation stuff. So you see all the different tabs at the bottom of the file. Control and page down will go forward. Control and page up will go backwards, right? Now when you use Control and Shift and the page up, page down, the arrow keys, the home and end, those are going to be some of the best ways that you can navigate and select data, whether it's text in a Word doc or cells or sheets within Excel. Those are powerful, so know how they work, because if you see people scrolling endlessly like this with the mouse, where they could have just done it all in one step with that keyboard shortcut, let them know there's a better way. I've come across that so many times in my career. It's like watching the, fingernails on a chalkboard kind of thing, right? Okay, so that's it for the common ones. Definitely know those. There's plenty more, but these are the ones that I think I use pretty much every day. Now let's talk about some of the ones that are in the add-in. Now these are going to be the shortcuts that when you install the Accelerate add-in, and if you want to know how to do that, just look on the website, see a demo, or go to the app page, right? It's going to come with these keyboard shortcuts by default. You can always change them. So let's take a look at this first one. Highlighting colors, right? So look at this. Very top, I'm pressing Control Y, goes to yellow. I press it again, goes to orange, then red, then purple, then green, then back to nothing. If I have more highlighted, it just uses the top left cell to determine what to change things. What happened here is a few years ago, I ran out of keys because I had Control Y for yellow, Control G for green, Control something else for red. I'm like, I'm running out of letters, maybe I can combine these. So I came up with the idea of a toggle, and I combine them all to one, and you can configure whatever colors you want, the most common ones you use, and what order you want them to be in. So that one's pretty helpful. There are a lot of others that work like that, toggling between different formats or other values. The filter picker is another one. So you notice how there's a filter that's in place in this particular sheet. If you press Control Shift F, it's going to show you filter options. Now, let's say we're in, so editing is something we want to see. So you run that macro, it shows you a list of options here in a picker. If we use option T, it will filter to that value. Or if you have multiple values selected, it'll filter to multiple. So everything editing here, right? So what we're showing here in Excel is this is a list of the common keyboard shortcuts that you can learn and print out. So if we wanted to unfilter, press that again, press U, enter, and it will unfilter. Right, so this is all the Excel shortcuts, not all of them, but probably the very most common ones that covers most of the letters you might want to know. Same thing for Word and PowerPoint. This is another reference link within the accompanying article to this video. So filter picker, lots of options here, right? You can kind of save values, you can do sorting, slicers, all kinds of cool things that you might want to do. And if you're like me, you're filtering a lot, so that can be helpful. Printing. Now, I'm not a big print fan, so why is this in my favorites? Well, a lot of people like to print, and I make it as easy as possible to print things out for them or set them up in a view that they like. So if we go tab to the right here in Word, if you press Control-Shift-P, we'll bring up the print picker. Now the default value, which again you can reset with the button at the bottom of any of these pickers, is P for show the preview. Now I'm going to run this again. Control-Shift-P, just press enter, and it shows us a preview. So whatever that default value is, you don't even have to enter it. You just press the enter button. And it's like having many, many shortcuts in one. So preview, that's one of them. Notice at the bottom here, there are 5 configurable values that you can use within the print picker. So basically what you do here is run all of the different settings you want. The margins, the orientation, fit to pages, repeating rows, centering things, footers, headers, all that stuff. There's a variety of settings that when you run them, you follow the instructions down here in the paragraph below to set a default to one of these 5 defaults, and it will save all those settings. So when you run it again, and you just press 1, 2, or whichever ones you set here, it will apply all those settings in one step to any of the sheets you have open. A lot of my experience has been in retail where there's just so many steps to do, and you repeat them for every single store or location. This was a great one because I would download a report. There might be 50 or 60 stores to run it for, right? All in one workbook, and I would select all those sheets, run, the favorites, say 1 or 2 or 3. It would apply that to everything within a few seconds. So that's a big one that is helpful. And then lastly here, the search macros box. This is huge because it's like having a shortcut to everything. I just press Control-Shift-W and it brings up a prompt where you can search for any macro to run. So type a couple of letters like copy. There's all these values here that you can do. Use the arrow keys to go down to it. When that full name of the macro is there, press enter and it will run. So if you want to run paste, right, or press escape to clear it out. You want to run something related to a file or a folder or whatever, right? So as an example, let's say we want to run the highlight one. So Control-Shift-W is going to show it again. Highlight, so that's the one I was running earlier with toggling colors. Notice how the shortcut here is with Control-Y. So you can set and unset that one at a time very easily there. You can set it as a favorite. Shows you some information around to the side, which you've kind of shortcut at the top and category when it was added, some different things there, right? And then you just run it. So if you do this again here, highlight, press enter, it will run. Just like the keyboard shortcut that I'm using now to clear that back out. Now, if you want to set up a lot of keyboard shortcuts in one swoop, right, that's what the sheet here is doing. So to run this, you would literally either go up to the tab and find the one that you're looking for, or again, it's easier to use the keyboard shortcut or the search box. This one is called assign macro shortcuts. So this bottom one, you would run this. The result of that would be this sheet. Shows you what all of these shortcuts you've assigned are. You can assign these, reassign them to your heart's content. Notice how here's a drop-down list of all the available shortcuts, lowercase, uppercase. And then off to the side here is your coverage. These are all the ones that you have set, so you know which ones are available and you can learn them and reuse them. Now when you print this guy out, it's nice and neat. It just prints out this part right here, so you can hang that next to your desk and learn them, circle the ones you want to work on, cross them out when you're done, and you've learned them. And just to know, right? Because sometimes you forget. I forget sometimes, and I use this stuff all the time, right? So that one's really helpful. And the reason is, when I was using macros in the personal macro workbook, before I even knew how to do an add-in, if I changed computers, I had to reset all that stuff up, reassign the shortcuts, and when you have 30 or 40 like this, it can take several minutes. In fact, it probably took a half hour to get all this set up. In here, you just reinstall the add-in, and then you can copy and paste this sheet into a file, save that, and when you open that and run it on another computer, it'll reset all these shortcuts in one swoop. So 40 or maybe even up to 50 of those are going to be reset for you. So if you found this helpful, tell a friend. You see somebody who isn't using a shortcut and they probably should be, let them know. It's a huge time saver, especially when you can configure your own and build them like this. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.